Yeah, I want to give you the real story on silver, and also I'm going to be somewhat critical of some of the what I call disinformation agents out there, and I'm just going to call it out like that. I'm going to go from memory more, but my memory is pretty solid on a lot of things too. So if you say I'm wrong on it, you can look it up and go back and see what the hell they claimed. I'm not going to give references to links and stuff, but first off, I want to point out that silver's always been a highly volatile asset. It's always been known as high risk, possibly high reward. All commodities have been known as this. This is not something that is, enlightenment from, hey, I got an inside scoop on something here. That's been well known in the business world. It's traditionally known. Commodities can be high risk, high reward. If you buy them, maybe when, it's very tough to say when they're cheap. How low is low? Some people thinking silver is going to go down to $10 or $15. Maybe it's not. I was thinking it would never go below the 22. I figured maybe 24 or something would have been the bottom, solidly below 26, reviewing what I was saying before. And it went all the way down to 18 something. Now, it looks like it goes in about 3-year waves. The last run-up was actually a bigger run-up than, that was the biggest run-up, period, right? And that ended in the end of April 2011. So, maybe the correction period might be slightly longer than exactly 3 years. Obviously, if the wave would have ran up, it would have ran up already in 3 years. It would have been April 2014, right? But I have to indicate some things out there that I've been saying for quite some time. First off, when the 6 largest bullion banks, this is going to be a little bit of a rehash, but I'm going to try to actually throw in some things about some of the disinformation and the giddy minds that just love, I don't know, I can't stop human nature, but let me just put it this way. The 6 largest bullion banks in January of 2013 were short gold. I know there was loads of people out there saying, yeah, buy gold, the sky is falling and everything. And they were short gold. That information did not come out till later. I didn't even see that till later on after gold crashed in April of 2013, right? As of May 2013, they were long. And that's a long time ago. That was a year ago. I know George Soros put down a large bet on shorting the markets on the S&P in mid-August of 2013. He actually shorts the markets even more in the beginning of 2014, even though they're going up. They're hitting record highs. George Soros has been, and I've mentioned this many times before, has been in the gold miners. Paulson has been in the gold miners. Now, actually take a person like Eric Sprott. I know back when he was the billionaire and gold and silver was riding high, everybody's walking around like he's the guru and they worship him. Now he's basically, I think he's thrown out of Sprott the management or something because he wasn't making the money. And, sometimes I heard the joke that, Sprott tells you how to be a millionaire, start with $1 billion. But I think the guy's going to be right long term. He's going to be the comeback kid. And now when I see things back a ways from, 2020, and you kind of look at the overall picture, I guess that does really make Sprott a maverick. He's not really going with, the flow. But he's going to play out. He's not going to just be a billionaire. He's going to probably be a multi-billionaire. It's probably going to play out. Now, there's a lot of things that are kind of coinciding where the dollar may fall. I talked about the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act coming into force in July 1st, 2014. But there's been a delay, or at least I don't know if it's not a full broad spread, widespread delay, but the IRS has granted some businesses or some banks up to January 1st, 2016 to actually be fully compliant with the act if they could show it's a hardship. That's only if they could show it's a hardship. But it's still the fact that this has been implemented and it's going to be enforced is going to create a lot of impetus for people to move out of the dollar, which not just people, but I mean companies, countries, trading in oil and dollars, the whole thing. You know. Now I want to comment a little bit about Lindsey Williams because I think his drama stories are going to actually start becoming fruition. But I got to say this. This is what the problem is. You got the orbit does not go around him. I know he says he's the messenger, but it seems like it's unclear to certain people that this guy, in my opinion, is a total disinformation agent. He's, Bill Cooper, who's dead, and usually time turns out the people that die are probably the real truth tellers, has stated that he was a Freemason. You know, he talked about coming from the East and, are you enlightened and that type of stuff. And I'm gonna actually say a couple things that this guy predicted in the past. You can just, I don't like throwing out this negativity, and maybe this is not really, maybe the most of the audience here realizes what this guy's about, but. For instance, he talked about the $200 oil, I guess, in when Gaddafi was being attacked, and they're going to bring it all the way up. He says his elite friend told him $150 to $200 back in between the time frame of June 2011 to October 2011, and that was the time frame his supposed elite friend gave him. You can look back. I don't know if I have links to that anymore, but whatever. But it's something he stated, and write it down with a pencil and paper. In fact, in August of 2011, right in the middle of that time period where he said it was going to be $150 to $200, it dropped to $75. Also, silver. He came out in September 2011 talking about 75 silver. It's going to definitely go up to $75. Hold on, don't let him. He says his elite guys were buying it up in these big trucks. He saw with his own eyes these big trucks that they were driving around, and I'm looking. They don't do that. This is for people. This kind of information is for people that have never seen anything at what people with money do. If they got a lot of precious metals, they call up Brinks. They don't freaking screw around and buy their own truck and transport their own shit. This is stupid. It's a giddy, stupid rumor for stupid people, and I'm not surprised a lot of people bite on it. I'm going to actually state something here. I was a little hesitant about putting out a video on my channel that was Rothschilds taking over all the world. Now, actually, the actual concept of a central banking system taking over the entire world is correct. Is the Rothschilds the main family behind it? No. Okay? But it's like Pavlov's dogs when you mention the name Rothschild. And I'm surprised it actually became my most popular video. But I actually threw a little twist in there with hemp and, how that could save, the Western world and everybody. I had to throw that in there because actually I think that is a major component of what can actually save the world, hemp, right? So I had to throw that in there as a little caveat to what I was presenting about the Rothschilds. But it seems like people are brainwashed in tunnel vision, and they gravitate to certain things, and it's all giddy rumors by total brainwashing and disinformation from major disinformation agents with a lot of idiots following them. Okay? There's a load of that stuff. Now, actually, I actually alluded to you on some of the videos I had about with some of the major stockpiles that some of the Russian oligarchs have in metric tons of metals that aren't silver and gold, but are isotopes. And isotopes are worth way more than gold. There's stuff out there, and they don't value this on their balance sheet. I was privy to that. But that doesn't mean I know what the elite are telling me. I've seen some things on the inside of stuff. Actually, I get very much... I'm going to ad-lib a little bit on here, because actually I get very much annoyed when people pull out the Jewish conspiracy theories left and right. Now, I know there's I guess if you could say it, Bernard Baruch, right? He's a main prime mover in the 1900s. A lot of people don't even know his name. He was Jewish, but it's not like a Jewish conspiracy theory. Actually, I am not going to put it out, but if I wanted to, I could put out videos on showing links between Italian companies and Italy, and why Gaddafi was attacked because of certain things he said, and what companies in Italy are really the main benefactors of the oil production in Libya. You know what? You don't see that on the internet anywhere. I'm not going to do that, though. I just kind of alluded to it here really quick. A second thing that Lindsey Williams said, which, Freemason Lindsey Williams, right, is that he was talking about, the leader buying up all the gold and silver in these big trucks. And this was back in early September 2011. In the meantime, more responsible financial journalists were warning that Eric Sprott himself was selling his PSLV and the physical and his GLD, his PGLD, whatever it is, his stocks in gold and silver like crazy. He was just selling them, and they said you should too. Meantime, Lindsey Williams is saying that his elite friend is saying it's going way up. And almost 2 or 3 weeks after he comes out with this big spiel about silver going from 40 to 75, and hold on, it drops to 26. And you're thinking, oh, well, maybe he, I'm not saying I lost money on it, but what is that telling you about this stuff, okay? And you're thinking maybe by the end of the year, it's going to go up because he's saying it's going to happen soon. And at the end of the year, it's 26. Now, what did he say recently in 2014? This is where I laughed at it because somebody actually, I think they posted his DVD on the net and they weren't supposed to. But he was saying something about all the nations were going to get together and choose a new world reserve currency in early 2014, and that the dollar would fail in early 2014. Now, he might have been, I don't know what the hell he's coming up with this stuff from. I know that I put something out that was erroneous, that it was along the lines of a crisis starting with the dollar around March or April 2014. But I didn't take it from, him. I took it from, actually, what the hell is his name again? Volcker, Paul Volcker, of the Federal Reserve. And David Walker, who was also high up. He was like basically, I guess you would call it, quote unquote, the chief accountant for the United States government. They give it a time frame of about that time when things start to fall apart because issues weren't addressed adequately back in 2012. But that has nothing to do with all the nations coming together and choosing a world reserve currency. I don't know. People want to believe what they want. I mean, when H.G. Wells back in the 1930s was repeatedly saying, even themselves, that this was a skit, that there's no Martians, coming to invade the world. Remember that H.G. Wells radio skit? They were even interjecting in the radio broadcast that, there's no Martians coming. But, by word of mouth and embellishing things, and once the rumor starts, people are jumping off of freaking roofs and stuff like that, and it's like, I guess you can't change human nature, okay? So I guess there's always going to be people out there like that, and there's going to be loads of them on the internet profiting by garbage like that. So I'm not doing that kind of stuff. I'm sorry, man. And I'm looking at this Rothschild video I did, and I said, boy, I should put out a lot of videos like that because they make a lot of money. Or they make a lot of hits. Actually, they don't make money, I don't think, per se, by, the ad rate or whatever the hell. I don't know, I shouldn't discuss that. But the thing is, that was more hits than anything I had. And I says, wow. I think that's what people are looking at that are pushing these giddy rumors. They're playing up to the average sucker. That's what they're doing. They're playing up to the average sucker. It's like H.G. Wells' Martian freaking drama stuff sells. I don't like it, but it's not the truth. It's not the truth. You know, with this financial stuff, it's like hit and miss. The clock's going to be right one time, and they say, "Yeah, I was right." They do this even with I think it was one guy, I forgot the guy's name. He called oil going up in 2008. He said it was going to go up to 147 or 150 or whatever by July 4th, 2008. And in fact, it did. I think he worked for Goldman Sachs. But then he was calling for 200. But, you know, they only emphasize their right calls, and they never say their bad calls. So it's all a sales pitch. And a lot of people are selling books. Like, I'm gonna mention this, you know, and people get mad at me with Schiff, you know. He's selling books. He's a broker. People that go on the internet that are brokers and financial advisors, and they want you to buy their system, they want you to invest their money with you, their main sales pitch is to get you to invest with them. Now, to tell you the truth on this, I am doing these more as out of my heart. Well, I'm not going to bitch about it, but actually, I shouldn't say what to. Actually, where and it's actually where I help more people is with the car videos and how-to videos. All right, I actually do. That's something where I get, you know, people don't see that, you know, that are probably looking at a silver video, but I get a lot of questions as to, you know, my car did this, my car did that, and, you know, how come I know this stuff and I know the financial world? Well, I used to freaking fix cars when I was going through college. When I was an accounting major, and I used to do a lot of car work, get paid for that stuff. And after that, after taking my car to a mechanic several times and seeing the bullshit they do, I says I'm not doing that because I do a better job on my own stuff myself and more accurate. I just follow the book. It might take 3-4 times longer to freaking do the work, but I know it's done right. So actually, you know, I kind of enjoy doing those kind of videos more than the silver videos, but I put out the silver videos because I think I'm being far more accurate than the garbage that's being put out there. And I don't like to get any rumors, and I want people to be aware, because at one point in time, these clowns with giddy rumors are going to be correct, and then people are going to keep following them off the cliff. Off the cliff. And I ain't going to know, I specifically I'm not going to know exactly where the cliff's going to go, but I do know that silver has a tendency to get far ahead of itself. You might sell way too short because bubbles go way the hell more than you think. The next bubble can go to some ungodly amount, reset, then we might have a real super bubble after that in a few years. The dollar is getting diminished. I don't think it's going away completely. All right, you know, when the silver crowd, when silver starts going up a lot, and I think it's going to start taking off here later this year, and quite a bit, it's going to be a matter of hysteria is going to drive the price up even more. And hysteria, greed, profit taking, whatever the hell it is, it's going to freaking drive it up even higher. More than it should be. And you're going to be following these other disinformation agents like the Pied Piper right off the freaking cliff. You know, actually, I'm going to tell you, like, you know, I got a little bit annoyed with the news unit sometimes because he's very emotional. When it goes down, it's going to crash to oblivion, and it's going to goes up, it's going to go up. You know, and that's exactly what silver does. It screws with your head a lot. But let me put it to you this way. The guy is highly accurate about, there's a lot of yo-yos out there trying to just profit by the emotions, and they're setting people up. They're setting people up. Two of the biggest guys in the actual silver world, I'm not going to mention it again, sold exactly on the exact peak the last Thursday in April of 2011. Yet there was all these people out there saying it's going to 100. Now, I sold earlier than that on double leverage and made money. Actually, I put money into platinum, and platinum's going up. Even though the silver or the gold is down, the platinum is making up for it. And I think by the end of the year, I'm probably going to be way the hell up on everything. But, I'm not sweating it, because one bit of advice I always gave out there is don't put all your money in silver. Silver has traditionally been a high-risk, highly volatile asset. But where I am getting annoyed at is I can't believe how people are constantly being hoodwinked by the same hucksters over and over again. And I guess I can't change human nature. I can't change the world. That's what it comes down to, man. I can't change the world, man. So, I mean, it's just the way people are. That's the way people always been. They were that way back in the 1930s. They're that way now in 2014. So that's just human nature, man. And unfortunately, there's loads of disinformation in the alternative media, and there's loads of actually monetary input from the major media in the alternative media to direct your attention and keep you revolved around certain people all the time. And you can recognize them because they're the biggest names. So anyway, I think some of the more important videos I put out here actually will be about health. Don't expect any miracles, but I'm trying to be highly accurate with this stuff. And I think there's true merit to it. And since I am not a scientist, I'm not a medical doctor, but I'm just a person that studies a lot and tries to be highly accurate, I think I might find some useful things for you on that area, and it's probably more important than silver. But in the meantime, everybody should have some silver, because one aspect of silver that's highly useful on a daily basis is colloidal silver. How many people do that or use that, or you don't have to drink it or have it on hand? You know, if you have a cut on your hand, you can put some colloidal silver and you wrap it up with a bandage and it's sterilized. I keep quarts of that stuff on hand. Actually, if you got a few ounces of silver into the hands of a few 100 million people in the United States, it could be a lifesaver from infection at one point in time for first aid, and it would actually drive the price up. It would. It would. There's a number of ways I know how to drive the price up that the big guys aren't doing. Actually, the angle I said this before would be pushing argentium sterling silver, which is true sterling silver, but it uses 7.5% germanium versus copper. It doesn't tarnish. It never tarnishes. It's got a higher luster than platinum, far higher luster than white gold. That that goes without saying. It's got a higher luster than platinum, but it's far less costly. The problem is they only sell it in these tiny little chains left and right. They don't sell it in large pieces, which makes you wonder, I don't get it. I wouldn't be, if I was actually a silver seller, I wouldn't be messing around with coins. I'd be selling argentium silver jewelry that was fairly thick, that comprised a fairly good amount of silver, and on top of that, it's like, you don't think about the price. It just, you just keep it forever, so it's gone. I mean, once it goes into jewelry, it stays there for generations. So if you want to take silver off the market physically, that'll be the way to do it. Are you paying attention, Eric Sprott? There's a reason I don't like giving out this kind of, and I'm not trying to work for Eric Sprott, but I'm just saying this. There's a reason I worked for people that were extremely aggressive entrepreneurs. They'll go into anything. Because I'm constantly thinking of angles that other people aren't. It's like a piranha, There's a piece of meat this way or a piece of meat that way. You know, it don't matter. If we're going in this direction, we're going these directions because that's where the money is. And like I said, I'm not doing that on YouTube because I'm not playing this giddy rumor garbage. I don't like it. I don't like it. So you're not going to see any videos on the Rothschilds from me anymore. Period. That's the only one, man. That's the only one. And surprisingly, it took off like a rocket. I'm like, I kind of wasn't surprised, but that's not really what I'm about. I don't like those Rothschild rumors. The actual concept of the central banking system taking over the world, that'll be run by a world government body or a world financial system, that's correct. Is the Rothschild family solely behind it? No. There's a lot of stuff behind it. A lot. A lot of stuff that I am not going to put out here. And I'll guarantee you Mr. Lindsey Williams doesn't know. Because, I was tempted to, and the guy doesn't want to do it, though. I was tempted to get, and actually now, even if you agreed, I do know somebody that does have contact with elitists, real elitists. And actually, every time I talk to him about some of the garbage that I heard on the internet from, the giddy rumor alternative media, he says, no, that's not ever going to happen. He says, no. And it was like he refuted everything out there. Because, I'm going to go lengthy on this. Let me explain another one. This was another big rumor out there with the gold. I'm going lengthy on this, but I am trying to really set it straight. With the gold, like when they had the fake gold bars, they turned up in China or Hong Kong. Actually, it was, I think, in Hong Kong or something. Now, they found out there were London good delivery bars, and they says they actually originated probably from the U.S. Mint. During the time, it was in Clinton's administration, but I'm sure Bill Clinton himself had nothing to do with this himself. He was too busy, playing around with interns. I don't think, but it was way back during his administration that they figured these bars came about. So, ergo, the giddy rumor alternative media and disinformation morons, or whatever these people are, they're thinking there's no real gold in Fort Knox, there's not gold in Fort Knox. It's actually in the New York Federal Reserve, or maybe deep 2 miles underground in a military installation, which is where I think they would keep it. But they're saying there's no real gold held by the U.S. government. And I'm thinking, oh, bullshit. Use a little common sense. If you were a counterfeiter of $100 bills, would you be spending the $100 bills that were real and giving those to people and getting back whatever you are getting back? Or would you be trying to unload the counterfeit $100 bills? Duh! For crying out loud. What do you think? If they were playing this game with gold-plated bricks or coated, whatever the hell it is, with tungsten-filled the gold bars, they would have been unloading the fake stuff and keeping the real. So, who got ripped off? The ones that bought it. It wouldn't be the U.S. government or the London Good Delivery Bars or the London Exchange. God. Are these alternative media people stupid or what? Or are they just freaking trying to scare the crap out of people that the sky's falling or whatever? I'm going to say another thing, too, here. If the United States actually does fall, like with a major financial collapse in the military and stuff, do not expect Russia's elite and Chinese elite to do you any favors. Yeah, it went so long that it cut off, but I'm just saying that do not expect Russia or Chinese elite to do you any favors. Our future is actually tied in with our elite. Unfortunately, that's how it is. Now, I should state that if, like I said, I don't know if I said this before or whatever, but if I met Rothschild himself or something, I am known as I've been known to be very influential with people. I can talk this guy into freaking growing hemp everywhere for profit and whatever for himself, but for, the betterment of everybody too. So, the whole deal is, you got to watch, we're being played from other angles. In other words, we got the major media is also pumping a lot of money into the alternative media in through grants and different ways of doing things, and actually just pushing some of the alternative media to maybe create crisis and hate and dissent, and they'll bring in new rules when when problems arise. People are biting for it, hook, line, and sinker. I can't change human nature, though, but that's just how people are. But I'm going to state that I am not putting any more videos on Rothschilds. Forget about that garbage. I know there's some merit about the conspiracies with them. I know that. But it's far more involved than that. Far more. So anyway, just, what I'm saying here is you're going to get hoodwinked big time by the silver crowd. Major. And when silver goes way up, I don't know. They're gonna play the same old game like they played last time. But the problem is the next bubble might be going a hell of a lot higher than we all expect. And who knows how high is high. But there is loads of evidence to suggest that anybody in a major alternative media is disinformation all the way. So anyway, I went too long on this, but just hopefully I drove home a point on this stuff about, the tungsten gold and all that garbage. That, it'd be ludicrous that, people, I don't even know what I said in the other part of the video because I don't know how long I went, but, it'd be ludicrous that people would sell the real stuff and keep the garbage. It would be ludicrous, but, the alternative media says that's what happened. Wow. Anyway, they got no brains. Well, they got brains because I found that, my most popular video was the conspiracy on the Rothschilds taking over the world with the banking system. So if I was going to take that route, I'd be saying, well, I got to freaking put out more stuff like this. There's underground lizards, whatever. I don't do that type of stuff, man. Forget about it. God, forget about it. I ain't doing that kind of garbage. Anyway, I try to delve into some of the unusual, but I try to delve into the unusual that I think is based upon hard empirical science and not mysteries of stuff that people are imagining or whatever the hell it is. Anyway, over and out. That's all I got to say about this deal. So you got to have to watch because you got two enemies out there. It's the alternative media and the major alternative media and the idiots that follow the major alternative media and the major media. I am neither one of them at all, period. I'm out for the average person. Anyway, over and out.